Okay, I have one rule for Ice Age time travel: never feed the wildlife. Unfortunately, a wolf is already walking toward our camp. It is watching the fire, smelling roasted meat, and making every human here very nervous. That animal is not a dog, not yet. But somewhere among ancient wolf populations, a relationship began that would eventually produce every Chihuahua, Shepherd, Retriever, and village dog alive today. Dogs were probably the first animals humans domesticated. They joined hunter-gatherers thousands of years before farms, cities, horses, or house cats. That makes their story less like animal ownership and more like an ancient partnership. Here is the mystery: scientists still do not know exactly where or when that partnership began. Bones can look partly wolf and partly dog, genetic dates have wide ranges, and the earliest stages left very few clear clues. Modern dogs descended from an ancient wolf lineage that no longer exists. So the first dog did not come from one of the gray wolf populations living beside us today. Both modern wolves and dogs carry pieces of a much older family story. One possible beginning happened at the edge of human camps. Wolves normally avoided people, but the least fearful individuals could approach after dark and eat bones, scraps, and other leftovers. Getting close was risky. A wolf that threatened people would be chased away or killed. A calmer animal that kept its distance could return the next night. That difference affected which wolves survived and produced young near humans. No one needed to announce a domestication project. If the boldest but least aggressive wolves gained more food, their descendants could slowly become more tolerant of people over many generations. This idea is often called a commensal pathway. One species begins by taking advantage of another species' environment, but it remains a hypothesis, not a recorded eyewitness account. Humans may also have raised wolf pups, and different processes could have overlapped. Wolves already possessed something useful for the partnership. They were intensely social. They cooperated with pack members, raised young together, defended territory, and coordinated during hunts. Experiments with carefully socialized wolves show that they can cooperate with familiar humans. Dogs did not need to invent cooperation from nothing. Domestication could reshape wolf social skills toward a new partner. At first, the benefits may have been simple. Wolf-like camp followers cleaned edible waste and could notice predators or strangers before humans did. People provided a dependable food opportunity and a safer place from rival packs. Later, humans and early dogs may have followed prey together. A canid could detect scent and movement that people missed. Humans could share food and protect the partnership. Archaeology cannot show us the first successful hunt, but the potential advantage is easy to imagine. Selection probably acted on behavior before it created a familiar dog face. Animals that panicked less around humans, controlled aggression, and paid attention to people were easier to live and work with. Over time, bodies changed too. Many dogs developed smaller teeth, shorter faces, more varied coat colors, and different reproductive patterns. These traits did not all appear together, and the idea of one universal domestication syndrome remains debated. Communication changed in especially important ways. Dogs became remarkably sensitive to human gestures. A pointed finger, a glance, or the direction of a body can guide a dog toward hidden information. Dogs also look to people when a problem becomes difficult. That familiar gaze is not proof that ancient dogs thought exactly like pets today, but it shows how deeply their social attention has become tuned to us. Now, ancient DNA is sharpening the timeline. In 2026, researchers reported dog genomes from Türkiye dating to roughly 15,800 years ago and from Britain around 14,300 years ago. Those genomes show that a recognizable dog population was already spread across parts of Europe and Anatolia during the late Ice Age. Domestication itself must have begun earlier, even if we still cannot identify its exact birthplace. The surprising part is that culturally different hunter-gatherer groups appear to have exchanged dogs. People who were not simply one expanding population could still pass these animals between communities. By then, dogs in Western Eurasia were already largely separated from wolves genetically. They lived beside wolves for thousands of years without constantly blending back into the wild population. As humans moved, dogs moved with them. Ancient dog lineages crossed Siberia and entered the Americas alongside people. Some of those lineages later disappeared, but their genomes preserve parts of the journeys humans made. Diet changed along the way. Some later dogs evolved improved abilities to digest starch-rich food, especially as agricultural societies expanded. But that adaptation was probably not the original reason wolves approached Ice Age hunters who had no farms. And those Ice Age dogs did not look like the hundreds of breeds we know today. Most modern breeds were shaped very recently through intense human selection for size, appearance, and specialized jobs. That recent selection created extraordinary variety, but it also concentrated harmful genetic variants in some breeds. Turning one flexible ancient dog population into narrow family lines came with real health costs. Modern wolves are not unfinished dogs, and dogs are not simply tame wolves. Each has followed its own evolutionary path. Protecting wild wolves means respecting the behavior and ecological role that domestication did not erase. The partnership changed humans too. Dogs expanded our senses, guarded camps, assisted hunts, carried loads in some societies, and eventually became companions woven into ritual, work, and family life. So there was probably no single first owner and no single wolf that suddenly became a dog. There were generations of cautious approaches, shared advantages, selection, migration, and trust. One ancient wolf lineage stepped closer to the fire and two species began changing each other.